Hey everyone, here's a quick heads up. The Agile Online Summit is coming soon. You can get all the details at bit.ly/Agile Online Summit 24. Yes, it's all lowercase, all one word. That's bit.ly/Agile Online Summit 24. Stick with us till the end of the episode to know the dates, the tracks, and some surprises we have ready for you. But for now, let's dive into today's episode. Hello everybody, welcome to our Wednesday this week with Johann Botha. Hey Johann, welcome back.
Thanks, Oscar. Hi everyone.
So Wednesday is of course change day here on the podcast. I like to call it change leadership rather than change management, but let's talk about change in general. And we want you to tell us a story, Johann, of a change process you were involved with. We talked a little bit about change yesterday, so for those of you who want to know more about Agile adoption, do check out yesterday's episode. But today we want to hear about that change process that you have in mind, and what were the steps, kind of, from beginning to end, what were the steps that you were following through the change process, as well as, and very importantly, for you to share with us the tools, the tips, the tricks, and the techniques you learned back then that you still apply today.
Okay. Okay, so the first thing that you need to bear in mind is, that I'm a consultant and a coach. That puts me in a unique position because before I engage with customers, I actually have the opportunity to have a conversation with them first. And I know a lot of your listeners don't have that luxury. They are in a situation, they have to deal with that situation. But nonetheless, I want to maybe just share with you the typical approach that we take. So before we take on a engagement, and typically our engagements are with larger organizations who's tried Agile and it's failed. We have a conversation with the leadership of the organization, and we actually, in that conversation, identify entrenched anti-patterns in their way of doing business. And then we talk a little bit about the typical patterns that we can replace those anti-patterns with. And we ask the leadership team, is that something that they're willing to do? And if they say no, generally we won't continue with the engagement. But sometimes you're in a place and you don't have a choice. So yesterday we talked about one of the techniques that we've learned is to start small somewhere in a safe corner, the Goldilocks principle that we talked about. But sometimes that doesn't work. So let me quickly tell you about actually one of our current projects. So awesome conversation with the leadership of the organization, buy into this thing, finding safe areas to do some work. Everybody volunteers to do it. Everybody is gung-ho. But the organization who engaged us is the IT department of a international financial services organization, and the IT department of the core finance team. So that means everybody in the banking group needs to use these services. Now that sounds cool because, wow, we can influence a large organization and do things. But the problem with that, there's lots of dependencies. And one of these dependencies we also touched on yesterday is this issue of governance. So every time we try and do something, there's somebody that says, but sorry, that's not part of our project management governance structure, and therefore we can't do this. No, you're not allowed to do this. It needs to go through this process first. And incidentally, the process to do a project or a program or whatever is typically takes 6 months just to get to starting to do work. So we quickly realized that that's not going to happen. So what we then did is we started saying, okay, but what are the project-like work that you do within the the IT space. And we realized that a lot of the things that's handled as projects are actually BAU.
Business as usual, yeah.
Yes. So it's small enhancements, small changes, things like that. In fact, the bulk of the things in product backlogs are actually that. And then we had a conversation with the leadership of the organization, and they agreed with us that BAU does not fall under the same governance structure. So what we then did is we started engaging with the typical customer that would ask for the BAU type of tasks to be done. And that is still within the core finance team, because they then sell it on to all of the other group companies. But they sitting, so that's our product owners, they're sitting on the business side of the fence. They're not in IT. Yeah. And together we came up with a new approach to handle BAU, which is absolutely 100% agile, helping the business side of the fence to start taking accountability for product being good product owners, and IT to be able to prioritize and do small little deliverables all of the time. We split the delivery teams also into two. Half of the team would work on project work. So we left project management intact because it doesn't help to try and change that and attack that.
Yeah, we can't change everything at the same time, indeed.
Yeah, so we split it. Half of each one of the teams would do project work and for 2 or 3 months, and then they would swap, and half would do BAU work, but both would do improvement work. So on our product backlogs, we've got improvements that's obviously from our reviews and the retrospectives. And if it's a general thing, we've actually got an improvement backlog, which is general for the whole of the organization. So everybody needs to work on improvement stuff. And then we went to the customers and say, if you want to ask us to do these type of things, this is how we work. We are constrained. We are resource constrained. This is the only way that we can give you the stuff that you want quickly. And nobody complained.
So you kind of established for the business as usual an agile way of working, and that of course required you to get agreement and separation between what was project work that followed its own process and what was business as usual. And then once that was done, you were able to go to business and say, hey, here's what we need from you, right? You wanted them to become better product owners, to take accountability over the work that was actually started within that category of business as usual.
Yeah. And the reason why I believe this is going to work is because, first of all, we make everybody used to working in an agile manner now.
Yeah, because of the rotation, right?
Yes. But also the fact that all the BAU work is done as sprint. Mm-hmm. So by the time that we start saying, we actually need to rethink this heavy-handed governance approach that you used within the project space, people won't say, no, but it's not safe. Because the bulk of the work that we've been doing for them for the immediate preceding period are actually the way that we want them to change it to. So this was an interesting one. We're midway through this. I've got no idea if the outcome is what I think it's going to be, but I'm very positive that it is a different way of actually getting the organization to change over time. And I think that the message here is important, that there's certain battles that you can't fight and win. And the only way that you're going to get ahead is then to divide and conquer. People are scared Think about it. I mean, if you say this is product management and you don't have a project budget anymore, and this budget never goes away, that's a scary thought. When am I going to get what I paid for? Yeah, it's not the way that people are used to thinking.
Absolutely. And it is quite a mental shift, right? Like, especially if, you've been trained to wait for 6 months before anything gets started, which has its own anti-patterns and own dynamics. And then suddenly you have to start making decisions every week. In fact, the latest every 2 weeks, because that's usually how long a sprint is. That can feel also quite daunting, right? Like, oh, I used to have weeks on weeks to get decisions made. And now I have to make decisions every 2 weeks, and some of them potentially quite big decisions. That can be quite difficult for an organization to adapt to, let alone drop a whole project management governance model.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. When we started with this, there was actually no product ownership. Why? Because all the decisions, all the accountabilities of a project owner or a product owner actually was entrenched in the project governance framework. So even if you said somebody needs to be a product owner and will be held accountable, they couldn't. Something that I taught my children from early age is never take accountability for something that you cannot control. And the reason I think why we struggle so much with product ownership is typically this example. We want people to take accountability for things that they just cannot control.
And we have models to take the accountability away.
And
that's why product ownership is so scary for many people, because it brings accountability back to the person.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Once again, I don't think it's a problem for somebody who to take accountability, or people shy away from accountability if they feel in control. But we disenfranchise them. And then we want to hold them accountable. I mean, that's not good.
And that won't work for sure. Johann, thank you very much for sharing this story. And maybe you'll come back to tell us how it ended in a few months.
Yeah, I think a good 12 to 18 months still before we're there.
Hi there, Agile friends. Thank you for sticking around. So, as I was saying at the beginning of the show, on October 22nd this year, we will have the first day of the Agile Online Summit 2024. The summit will take place from October 22nd to 24th, so make sure you book your calendars, as there will be loads of sessions for you to attend, including live QAs with the speakers, networking sessions, and more. This year, we're also organizing regular networking events online so that you get to talk and meet your peers before the summit even starts. So if you want to know more, check them out at bit.ly/Agile Online Summit 24. That's all one word, all lowercase. That's bit.ly/Agile Online Summit 24. You can sign up for a free ticket and get notified when those warm-up events will be organized, so stay tuned. Now, regarding the summit, our opening keynote will be Marshall Goldsmith's exposition of a project he's been working on for a while. That's marshallgoldsmith.ai. And Marshall is an author and also a leadership coach who sold over 3 million books worldwide and has been considered twice #1 leadership thinker in the world by Thinker 50. And you definitely don't want to miss that. If you want to know more about the tracks, here they are. We will have 4 tracks. The first track is Shift from Product to People. In this track, we will explore what we call the third wave of Agile adoption, exploring psychological safety, coaching techniques, and more to unlock your team's potential. In this track, you can learn to foster trust, encourage innovation, and build high-performing teams. Transform your approach and the future of Agile to be much more people-centric. The second track we have for you is value-centric product development. In this track, we will learn how to master product management and ownership by focusing on value. We will learn to identify, validate, and deliver what customers truly need, and dive into customer-centric approaches, experimentation techniques, and continuous market validation ideas. We have to accept that if Agile is to succeed, we have to become value-centric, and that's what we explore in this track. The next track is titled Agile Coaching Masterclass. We want to help take your coaching to the next level and transform team performance. Develop key Agile coaching skills, emphasizing people-centric and value-centric approaches in line with the previous tracks. And we will help you learn how to guide teams towards value focus and effectiveness. In this track, we want to help you unlock the potential of the individuals and the organizations you will be working with. After all, the future of Agile is coaching-centric. And finally, the last track, and definitely not the least, is all about the future of Agile. Explore the trends shaping Agile's evolution. The previous 3 tracks do that as well. Discover real-world success stories from innovative companies pushing the boundaries of what's possible today, and learn how practitioners are evolving Agile practices, gain insights in how to revolutionize your own approach. After all, the future of Agile is here, so let's explore it. You will also have the opportunity to network with your peers, so get your ticket and join our Slack at bit.ly/Agile Online Summit. That's all lowercase, all one word, bit.ly/Agile Online Summit 24. As always, we have free tickets and the VIP tickets, so check them out. It will all be available at bit.ly/Agile Online Summit 24. I'll see you on the conference floor.